I'm curious about how it feels like to connect with this inner architecture. Is it a voice that you actually hear, that you're sort of clairaudient? Is it something you actually see, like you're seeing words, or how do you perceive this architect within you? And like, could you share a little bit about how this communication works to someone who has not the same communication?
I definitely can. Yeah, it's not normally in words or picture form. It's concepts and telepathic. Well, it is words telepathically. It's sort of like you and I talking, but instead of in the physical universe, sound, which moves molecules inside my head, I hear a voice. We all have an inner voice, right? You can talk to yourself if you want to, and without saying something out loud, you can say something to yourself, and you know how that feels because you can hear yourself talking to yourself, uh, that inner voice if you're talking. The question is, and the ability lies in how to delineate your own voice from an external voice. And for some reason, at 3 years old, it startled me when I heard this voice, because at 3 years old, you still are used to hearing your mom and your dad and other people saying something to you physically, but you're not that aware of your internal inner voice. When this inner voice happened, it was literally as loud as you and I are talking, only it was an inner voice. It was a mental voice. From that moment on, I was easily able to discern the difference between my thinkingness and when this voice entered, and I got to be really good at it. And so it was almost like, I don't know, would psychiatrists call me schizophrenic? I don't know, but I could hear that separate voice. And I'll give you a quick story that just happened, not in my book. I went shopping the other day, and I have my phone and a wallet, and it's in the Nashville area. It's freezing and it snowed, which it rarely does. So there's about 6 inches of snow on the ground. So I was told that I should put a spigot cover over the outdoor sprinklers so they don't freeze. So I was outside in the snow doing that. So I came in the house, make myself a sandwich, and I was going to go out again to buy something. And I noticed my wallet was in my jacket. So I got panicky, like we all do when you lose something like that. So I spent 20 minutes around the house looking for this wallet. I even called the grocery store where I was at to see if it felt down there. No, sir, we don't have it. And I got really mad, and I said, architect, I call it architect. I said, architect, I need your help. Where is my wallet? And I didn't get an answer. A lot of times it doesn't respond right away. So I continued looking. I went outside by the faucet and looked where I was kneeling down, thinking maybe it dropped out of my jacket. It wasn't there. So I'm about to give up and go get something to eat anyway. And all of a sudden the voice said, you had the right idea. You didn't look thoroughly. Exactly just that in my mind. I heard it. And I kind of went, well, what does it mean? I didn't look thoroughly. So the last place I looked was outside, and it didn't say anything else. So I walked outside, went over by this faucet, and there's 6 inches of snow, and there was no wallet under the faucet or anywhere that I could see in the air. Then the voice came on again. It said, it's in the snow. It's under the snow. You can't see it. And I went, oh. So I took my hand, put it in the snow 6 inches down, and rubbed it on the ground. My bare hand in the snow was freezing, and all of a sudden, I found it. And I just went crazy. Even though I've had these interactions for, since 3 years old, I'm giving away my age, but I will be 76 January 31st. So think about how many years I've interacted with the invisible architect. But this one blew my mind because it was so practical, but I was so touched spiritually by this. And then I just realized that I've been blessed, and I just thanked the invisible architect. So that voice, I just heard in my mind like a voice. that we all have apparently, but I think we don't pay attention to their voice. Sometimes we invalidate that voice and think it's our own thinkingness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this book, like, how did it come about? Is it actually channeled with you collaborating with the inner architect?
I think you already are hearing the voice because you're exactly right. Yeah, like about 4 years ago. Now I've already written other books, okay? So I'm an author, so I get ideas all the time. But this was different. I woke up and if you recall earlier, I had said that for many, many years I've been studying philosophy and metaphysics and everything in order to improve my success ratio. And I always think mindset is very important to develop, especially trying to be a jazz musician. You have to be able to focus and creativity. So I've always developed that and had a lot of studies in that. And so I woke up, I was about ready to get something to eat, and the little voice said, "You need to write the book." The book. Didn't say a book. What are you talking about? The voice was happening. Now here I am having this internal conversation. But when I have a two-way communication with the invisible architect, I don't usually speak out loud unless I'm alone. But this time it was an internal, "What do you mean the book?" And it said literally that people need to know they aren't alone and they have the ability to talk to me. That was exactly what it said. And then it disappeared. So now I'm eating and I'm sort of thinking about what I just got told. I need to write the book because people need to know about me and how to operate with me. And then I went, "Oh, you're talking about this voice that I've had for a long time." And by the way, I didn't have the name, the invisible architect. I just thought it was an inner voice, a higher self. And so, being an author, I know how to start a book. So about a week later, I sat down and I said, "Well, I guess I'm supposed to write a book about this inner voice and how I work." So I started writing an outline. And I didn't have a title, and it's hard for me to write a title. I mean, write a book without a title. Uh, I didn't know what to do, and so I started making an outline of what is this inner voice, how did it develop. We put an outline together. The next thing I know, I was online uh, looking up something to buy, and on the side you see different advertisements, and there was an advertisement about architecture, invisible architecture, and it was like somebody touched me on the shoulder and said, "That's it." And I understood that mean, "Oh, that's the name, invisible architecture?" And it said, "No, I'm the architect." And then it disappeared again. And then I went, "Oh, the invisible architect. That's what you're trying to tell me. That's the name of the book." And so I got the name of the book. And at that point, it was almost like automatic writing. I think you've heard of automatic writing, where you just sit down and type or write, and whatever comes out, you let it happen. It wasn't really automatic writing. It was more of a channeling, because once I started doing the outline, the information just, there was no such thing as writer's block. It was just pouring out of me chapter by chapter. And of course, I have author skills in craft and I know how to develop things, but the main ideas just kept flowing out. And it took only about 9 months, 7 to 9 months to write it. And then it took longer to edit it, actually.
To watch the full video, click the link below, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel.
Resto maliata falia, tan shavra leto.